Welcome. I'm so happy that you made it. Actually, someone told me it's the end of the day. It's the last series of the talk. We made it on purpose so that everyone will be tired. I said, okay, challenge accepted. I have a lot of energy to give, so this is why. Hello, everyone. Yes. Thank you actually for being here. I promise you it will be an interactive, out-of-the-box session. We will enjoy it together, speaking about flow leadership, lasting value via system thinking. It took me a lot of time to decide what should the title be, and then I decided, okay, my 3 key takeaways. Flow leadership, lasting value, and system thinking. How can we do that? I will be speaking this in the context of the Empire State Building. Why a building? Why a construction? Simply because I'm an architect at heart, building architecture, not software architecture. And through the last 5 years, I work as an SPC. So by practice, I'm an agile consultant. I work at Kigon AG. I'm in Germany based, but initially I'm Lebanese. I come from the Mediterranean. Yes, I have a Lebanese compatriot here. Yeah, so I'm used to shout Mediterranean people. We are like, we hug, we touches. In Lebanon, we give 3 kisses, 1 on each cheek and the 3rd one because we like it. So it's normal. Together, we will discover the following agenda. So we will introduce the context, check the 3 key takeaways again, apply system thinking, embrace flow, leverage constraints in the context of the Empire State Building. We will wrap things up and enjoy a drink in the end. But before we tackle that, let's speak a common language. Construction projects are like a cake bake. And here you can see the photo of my teta. Teta in Lebanese, it means grandma. And I always, when I was a child, I used to love to sleep at my teta's house because on every Sunday, or if it's a public holiday, you wake up to the smell of the best cake. It's simple, huh? It's no dressing, no toppings. It's just a sponge cake. But the smell hits your soul and not your nose. Huh? It's just something weird. I don't know how she does it. It's just she like it. You can see her face expression. One day, the second generation, you can see my mom in red here. They said, oh, but we all good cake bakers. Why don't we bake a cake, all of us together? And then my teta was like, yeah, you're my children. I love all of you. Then every person, they are good cake bakers. My tante, my aunt, she said, I will take care of the eggs. My mom, yeah, milk, butter, flour, all of the ingredients. That was the result. I can assure you this is a fake smile on their faces. This is not a real smile, okay? It's just, the question is, I believe we're all familiar with this proverb or saying, too many cooks spoil the soup. Why, when we have too many chefs, we miss this? Everyone alone does it in a perfect way. But when they come together, it was a failure. Why? For me, I call it creative leadership. In order to be able to bake this cake together, we need to be creative leader. How to achieve this creative leadership? By applying system thinking, by embracing flow, and by leveraging constraint. From now on, you will see these 3 key takeaways on the top right corner here, and we will cover them one after the other in the Empire State Building context. Small interaction at first, just statistic to see the background here. By a show of hands, who is familiar or knows the Empire State Building? Yeah, expected. Okay, great. Now let's play a short game. When was the Empire State built? Give it a guess. 70, 35, 31, 16? Any other guesses? Okay, it was 1930. Nearly 100 years ago. Now the second question, how much time it took to the Empire State Building to be built? Back then it was the tallest skyscraper. 14 months, 1 year, 5 years, 3 years. Ala unna, ala duwe, who said more? 8 years. Do we have more than 8 years? It's actually 8 months. Yeah. Oh, our first aha moment. Okay, it's 8 months. God, there were no lean back then. Taishi Ono, lean production system, 50s. Then in the 80s, 90s, Scrum. Then Agile 2001. And then our beloved Dean 2010, Safe. 8 months, tallest skyscraper back then, nearly 100 years ago. Let's go back in time. It was exactly on time, 18% under budget. How? Well, I tell you, they contacted me. I was a good consultant back then. I live another life now. So in blue, you can see here dotted, these are the actual 8 months that I spoke about. So construction started March 17, and November 13, exterior was completed. Actually, they were driven by what we call in construction constraints. In a parallel universe, we call that, for example, NFRs, non-functional requirements, and SAFe. Constraints in construction are like guidelines that will shape your decision-making. They had 3 main big constraints. The first one is time. May 1st, building needs to be opened. Why? Back then, that was the rule in New York City. Each year on May 1st, if you are not done, you cannot register your building. If you finish on May 2nd, you need to wait for a full year to register it and to open your doors to the public. Time critical. The second one, weather. This is why exterior was completed in November. Then during the winter, no one will care. You can paint, you can put, we call it third fixtures. It means everything that is white, that is clean, like the lamp, light bulbs, paint, all of this stuff. You can do it internally. It's safe since you close the exterior. And the third and last constraint that they had is that the plot size of the Empire State Building was too small. They didn't have any place to store materials. So everything we order needs to be executed directly. Let's jump to the first key takeaway. Apply system thinking. I believe majority of you are familiar with this picture. Yes? Okay, this is a real picture of the labors. When they were near the end, like you can see the Central Park here, you see, behind them. This is the beautiful New York City. When interviewed, like, how were you able to do that in 8 months? That was their answer. We know how to build fast. It is routine. It is commonly done. Why are you surprised? We know what we do. By speaking about system thinking, I cannot but reference Russ Acuff, the father of system thinking. It's not important how powerful a member or a train or an entity or a department is or are in your entity. To be or to apply system thinking, principle number 2 in SAFe, lies within the collaboration, within the pattern of all these people inside of your organization. Look at them. Everyone is happy. This is during you Germans, since we are in Germany. This is Mahlzeit. They were having lunch here. Everyone is smiling. Now go walk in Berlin. I doubt if you find a construction site, just look at the face expression of any worker. And sorry, but especially in the US, if we have American people here, I don't believe there's safety rules in this picture at all. So yet they are super happy. Like everyone is like just sharing, speaking, and yeah, life is good. We know how to build fast. It is commonly done. The second topic, and actually this is the butter behind it. This is why they were able to do it. They didn't follow the schedule. Now, if we take a step back, what is a schedule? A schedule by nature is more like bidimensional. It's you have time and we need to do this stuff, track. It can be waterfall and you can innovate in it, but it's boring, a schedule. They followed what we call a workflow. Now, I drew parallel on line of balance workflow, the one they adopted that you can see here, and SAFe. Let's start with line of balance. What does line of balance mean? It's this graph that you see in front of your eyes. In construction projects, line of balance, it's real actual graph that represents time, and these are the stories, the elevation of the Empire State Building. And this is the steel graph. So the steel, the material that they use for the structure. If we zoom in to the top, you can see it's constituted of 5 steps. Information required. You place your order, steel mill order, details, delivery, execution. And as a good SPC, I was like, it's nothing but the CDP, the continuous delivery pipeline. It's like exploration. I got all the information, all the context, all that I need to know. I place my order, and then continuous integration starts with details, and then deployment, delivery, and execution, and it's continuous. Why? Because you do it here for the stories. You see, when you started, and then it's done, it's finished, but then you repeat it, and then you repeat it, and then you repeat it, and then you repeat it up till you finish your building. 2 distinctions here. If you notice between the delivery and the execution, remember the third constraint. There is no place to store the material. They were efficient on cadence, that it took them exactly from March, the first month, to the last month in September. Look, exactly 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Between what? Between delivery and execution. Now, coincidence is that we say in safe iteration 2 weeks. This has nothing to do with this. But they were aware of that because they were aligned beforehand on the constraint. Plus, something, I don't know if do you notice something here in these 3 steps? Something not normal, usually. Like information required, we all start with gathering information. This is normal. But then steel mill order and then details. Details, it means design. Is it common? So they place the order to the company, to the manufacturer, and then they finalize their design as architects of the building. And this leads us to the following, that never let your design create impediments for you. Rather than from the constraints we have, let us design our product. They designed the building based on what they can get, based on the constraints. Time, we need to be fast. May 1st, it needs to be open. I don't have time to be sophisticated in the design. It's, from an architect point of view, it's a decent design, to be honest. It's not the best one, but it's a decent one. 2, small plot size. I don't have the luxury of storing materials and storing, so the steel is 6 meters long. This is why you see here 2 stories, 2 stories, 2 stories. They designed the building in a way that you take it the standard and you can build it directly. You don't need to cut, you don't need to change the shape. All of these decisions were affected by the constraints. If I draw the parallel now with SAFE, information steel mill order, it's nothing but the objectives. It's our progress. Details, it's our design. On iteration, on increments, we can check that. We can update it. It's not done from point 0. Now, if you come to me, I'm Joseph, the architect. You want me to build your dream house. I will sketch it. I will design it. We sit together. I told you, this is the house. They didn't made it like this here. They said, okay, we collected the information, but based on what we can get, we will finish the design. And last but not least, the delivery and execution, it's nothing but the process. And this is nothing but principle number 5. To base milestones on objective evaluation of working systems. They called it, this workflow, they called it the 4 pacemaker. This is how they were able to move on cadence and synchronization. They had the structural steel construction, concrete floor construction, exterior metal trim and windows, exterior limestone. I love it when the theory fits in what's tangible. You can see the increments here. My OCD was happy when I saw this picture. I was like, months 1, 2, 3, increment. Yeah, it's perfect. It's amazing. Pay attention to this. They finished exterior material and trim windows before concrete floor was done, before they poured all the concrete. Look at the dates, 17-10, 22-10. And I couldn't but think of separate, deploy from release. Just alignment. Again, constraints shaped our decision-making. If I can finish everything, by the way, something distinctive here. You don't see scaffolding from the outside to cover the windows. It was designed in a way that you can finish everything, all the exterior metal trim and windows from the inside. You don't even need to invest, waste time, because to install such a huge scaffolding, it takes a lot of time, money, and energy from your people. It was done from the inside. A living proof of concept. Joseph, this is so boring, nearly 100 years ago. Give me something from today. A Dutch company. I learned that we have a lot of Holland people from Holland here. 1, anyone other? 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, more than Germans, where are you? So I don't know if you are familiar with Jensen de Jong Group. I don't know if I pronounced it right. I tried my best. Johnson. Yeah, okay. So they do renovation and restoration. And you see here, it's how the traditional way of working in construction. You have time, you have the rooms to be renovated, the batch, they call it batch, and you have the specialties, demolition, HVAC, so it means mechanical AC, all of this stuff. Plastering, so when you plaster the wall, and then in the end you do the paint work. Each one of them have his, my mom, my teta, they are professional in their field alone. When they came together, this is a pure lean motive. Look at this lead time. Waste, waste, waste. It's one-man show for each one of them. They learned that the following. We don't need to work fast. We just need to align. Alignment is the key. When they aligned, I can tell you something. Why they said you don't need to work fast? Because look at the demolition. They started in month 1. It was done in month 4. At first, they took them only 1 month to finish. But as an overall, it was done at the 12th month. And then here, it was done on the 10th or 8th month. We don't need to work fast. We need to align ourselves. It was a topic today. It has been covered, especially recently for the people who were here in this room, like about these patterns between the value streams, between the trains in the morning as well, the 3 layers, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3 by Jean, the talk by Jean. It's within the coordination of these items. You don't need to work fast. You need to align yourselves. And I see nothing but this IT picture, which I have nothing to do with IT, but I like it. Shift learning, left. I'm not done yet with concrete, but I can finish my windows. Do it, finish it. If your story is ready, don't wait to finish to write the code, and just test it. A feature is not tested. And they were able, in the end, to introduce the third dimension. So the horizontal client, it is represented by time because you need to finish and then to give the keys. The vertical, it's the project, so it's the rooms. And diagonal, now you have the third element, the subcontractors. Designed to meet the constraint, the third and last key takeaway. We said weather conditions. They started in March, they finished in November. Great, during the winter, you can be comfortable. You lower the pace, you continue on cadence, you work internally. Time critical. The municipality, mandatory to finish May 1st of each year, or else you need to waste a full year. And plus logistics scarcity. We have no place to store our materials inside. And to be honest, this is nothing but solution context in SAFe. Even I was happy to see, like you have here, you see, it's a physical environment, so weather effects. I have it as a constraint for the Empire State Building. What do you have here? Customer usage, standards and regulation. So for me, it's like nowadays, coming from such a background, I see a lot of agile practitioners thinking hard, how can we apply agility or lean in construction? You don't need to apply it. It is there. What we miss as architects, as building people, it's alignment. Because we have a variety of stakeholders. Most of the time, they come for a short period of time, and you might not even work with them in the future. It depends on each project. We just need someone who can guide us to alignment. And I say always, there's no silver bullet in life. And as an SPC, definitely SAFe is not the silver bullet. It's not perfect. There's nothing perfect in life. But I see a lot of parallels where people can take advantage of. It's in the heart of it. PI planning, system demo, iteration, cadence, it's all the idea about alignment. Cross industries, we know that. We have clients from pharmacy. I'm supporting a client from transportation, from banking industry. Why not in the construction? Why we make this big hype about construction? The naive look today in the coaching session, in the round table, we were speaking and I gave them always the feedback. The standard agility, you need to start with what can be with the flow, the fast flow, what can go fast in your flow, and is important. And then I always receive this comment, like in a building, in a house, the most important stuff, and that we need to start with it is the roof, because without a roof, you will be exposed. And then, but Joseph, you cannot apply agile in construction. You cannot build the roof and you don't have the lower. And I look at, yeah, I know you cannot. But this is a naive way to look at agility in construction. It's in the management of the construction. These are people that manage their work in the same way like they do it in healthcare, like they do it in automotive. Living proof of concept. It's principle number 6. Make value flow without interruption. We say in SAFe, especially now with the rise of AI, if you would like to increase flow, reduce transaction cost. How to reduce it? For example, invest in AI. For all repetitive tasks, try to automate it. And this is one example of how you can increase the flow. Let me give you 2 facts about the Empire State Building. That was the AI back then, 100 years ago, don't forget. They invested in an internal transportation system. They built their own personal internal railway locomotive system to transport the materials internally. Just imagine, they had a transportation infrastructure just for the materials. The second fact, to lower their transaction cost, electricity back then was not like today. They used to work day and nights, definitely. And during the night, like the light bulb that they used to have, it's not big enough to lighten the whole thing. So they built up these huge electricity boxes with the switches. And you know, on a construction site, like you consume a lot of electricity from the tools that you use. That up till today, it's a fact. I don't know, anyone has visited the Empire State Building? Have you ever noticed there's a place in the basement they kept it with the electrical switches are still there? Anyone saw them from the people who visited? No. It's still there. When interviewed after like years, they told the owners of the Empire State Building, yeah, but this is a little bit stupid. You couldn't remove it because it was too big that once you are done, you cannot remove it now. And he said, who cares? We were done on time and 18% under budget. One, I'm a business person. I don't care. Two, I'm an entrepreneur. I took advantage of it. Now people visit it and see that. It's proof of why we are here and why we have this success. So this is how they lowered their transaction cost back then. Summary. Deeply experienced builders, when interviewed, why are you astonished? It is routine. It's commonly done. We always do that. So all the computers in the world cannot replace experienced builders. Our second key takeaway, workflow. They followed a workflow from a technical life. They had the line of balance. It was the stages embodied into their management. They didn't follow a schedule. They followed a workflow. And when I speak workflow, I cannot but reflect upon principle number one, take an economic view. It's the cash flow thinking. We are encouraged usually to speak about economic value to prioritize and go quicker into our system. And here, I link with the Scaled Agile Framework initially to the large solution when we speak about construction. Why? Because I see this beautiful term, supplier. And in construction, we have a lot of suppliers. And we have contractor, subcontractor, owner rep, mechanical, electrical, engineer, architect, many stakeholders, many suppliers, many team players. How can we bring all of them inside? Workflow is the idea. WSGIF can be helpful. Again, it depends on the context. We wouldn't use it like I prioritize a normal feature because here the feature is not developing a code or doing like a migration of SAP, but here I'm building a real thing. What I need to focus upon, again, it's the management to build this thing. It's not WSGIF for the roof or for the window. It's the WSGIF for the management, for the alignment. And last but not least, please never forget, design doesn't generate a schedule. Usually, we love, especially for startups, we have a passion towards something, we build it, we design it, everything is done. And now that we have the solution, we start thinking, how can I implement this? This bunch of people said, no, let me know how can I implement to build a building, and then I will design it based on this requirement. So the schedule wasn't laid out based on the details of the building design. The building was designed based on the constraints of the situation they had back then. And here I couldn't but reflect and think about Louis Sullivan. He's a skyscraper father. He's an American architect. He was the one behind this architectural school of form follows function. And today, as an Agile SPC, I couldn't reflect but to say design comes after purpose. If I'm not aware of my purpose, to be honest, I'm not trustworthy enough yet to finish my design. And this is why I love the APM training, for example, and especially the PO and PM roles, because you reflect more on what we call market rhythms, market trends. After I learn the constraints I have in my specific market, now I am in a key decision-making level to say that's how we will go, or no, it's better to do it the other way around. Since we're in Germany again, Holland people. So the Bauhaus, it was in 1919. Bauhaus is nothing but forms follow function. This is why in Bauhaus, for those of you who are not familiar with it, you see these houses and even the furniture, they follow like geometrical forms. It's based on, it's a residence, then you have the shape for a residence. It's an industrial purpose. You can see it clearly from the material, from the shape. It's an industrial building, so on and so forth. And even if I link it back to Joseph, who's SPC now, and to the beautiful people here that work in such an industry, I believe we're all familiar with Conway's law, which is nothing but forms follows function, because Mr. Gentleman Conway, he told us, if you have services architecture, then most probably your organization is small independent teams. If you're in monolithic architecture, then you will be a single large team. This is nothing but form follows function. Design comes after purpose. So our call to action, be creative leader, apply system thinking, follow a workflow instead of a schedule, and always remember, constraints affect our solutions. System thinking, workflow, constraints. And now I need to be a good safe boy and to draw the final parallels here when we say system thinking is nothing but cross silos. It's the collaboration between the people. We know how to build. It's routine. It's commonly done. Cross the silos, find the kidney. And yesterday I learned that Dean, back then, he said, you will find the kidney and pay a kidney to do the transformation. Now it's like, okay, now I know why you call it like this. Number 2, workflow, we mean cadence. We saw it. Material came, they had scarcity of storage. So 2 weeks, delivered, built, delivered, built, delivered, built. They tailored cadence to their environment. And that's the beauty of SAFe. It's lean plus agile that can be tailored, not can, actually it should be tailored to each and every industry environment, to each and every job context. It's not take it and put it as it is. It won't work. Definitely it won't work like this. And in the end, constraints, as it was shared, it's nothing but solution context. What's our market rhythm? What are our market trends? And all of these factors, terms, regulations, will affect our decision making. So the next time you bake a cake with your family, remember my teta story and draw a huge smile on your face. Unfortunately, in our family, it's not the cake now. It's not in the hands of my teta, but it's in the hand of the 3rd generation now. You can see them, how happy they are. They learned it. They can do it. I thank you so much. I'm a millennial. You can scan the QR code and connect with me. Don't forget to rate this session in the app and ask your questions in the app. Thank you.
Thank you. We just have a couple